Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is May 29th. It's 1:45 in the afternoon. And I am back making a video of a ride through Erma. And I decided to start this video outside the Erma Volunteer Fire Company station, as you can see. And it is a beautiful day here in Lower Township. It's 64 degrees and sunny, wall-to-wall blue skies, as you can see. And I'm riding through Erma today because in response to my recent video that I began outside of Naughty Spirits, one of the viewers, her first name is Nicole, asked me to take a ride through Erma. And it has occurred to me that through all 200 videos that I have on this channel, I've never done a ride dedicated to the census-designated area called Erma. I've ridden through Erma on several occasions, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute or two. But I'm going to get this ride started. One of the things that I find interesting, not just about Erma, but about the communities down here, is if you look at Google Maps or any map, you'll see the borders or the outlines of a census designated area, and oftentimes structures that are identified even by themselves as being within that community fall outside the community. And by that I mean, if you look on Google Maps, Google Maps defines Erma as ending at breakwater. One of the edges of it is breakwater. The other one is Shun Pike, and I'm at the intersection of breakwater and Shun Pike. And yet the Erma Fire Department is outside that boundary. I've ridden along Shun Pike on many videos, so any regular or long-time viewer of my channel will have seen me ride along this road. But on the left side is Erma. So as I'm riding along the edge here, you'll see you're looking at Erma. I also made a video back in, actually in two videos on the same day, on I think it was May 21st in 2001, or maybe it was May 6th in 2001, but I have two videos that day documenting notable things within Erma. One is the Union Bethel Cemetery, which I'll talk about in a second. The other one is Weeks Landing Road. But Erma is the site or the location where the first, I think the term is manumission of slaves in the early 1800s occurred. This is, both sides is Erma. That beautiful home is in Erma. So in Cape May County, the first manumission occurred in, I think it was in 1802. And manumission, for those that don't know, is the voluntary release of slaves before slavery was outlawed. So the state of New Jersey passed some legislation that restricted any further importation of slaves sometime in the second half of the 1700s. And in 1802 was the first manumission where people started to give freedom to slaves that they owned. And the first place that occurred was right at the corner of Breakwater and Tabernacle Road, which I just turned on. And I think slavery was abolished later in the state of New Jersey in sometime in the like 1840s or something like that. So that was one of the early notable things about Erma. And it was the site of the first really African American or black community in Cape May County. Now, Cape May Regional High School, or Lower Cape May Regional High School, is to my right, and that educational facility identifies itself as being in Erma, even though if you look on Google Maps, it is technically not in Erma. So this is all Erma. I'm now on Route 9, and I asked in my response to Nicole's post, was there a particular street that she wanted me to ride down, and she said no. This is Cape May National Golf Club. This entire golf course is falling within Erma. There's Weeks, no, that's not Weeks Landing. I'll point out when I pass by Weeks Landing Road, because I made a video, I referred to the Union Bethel Cemetery, and on the same day I made a ride back to Weeks Landing, and there's Weeks Landing Road. And I'll put a link to both of those videos in the description of this video in case anybody is interested in seeing something about that Union Bethel Cemetery or Weeks Landing. The Union Bethel Cemetery is a cemetery that was founded to house the cemetery plots of African American Union soldiers. And if I'm not mistaken, there might have been 73 of them buried in that cemetery, and their families were also able to bury their remains alongside them as well. And I took a ride back to Union Bethel Cemetery, and I actually got off the bike and I walked through the cemetery to show what it's like. It's the kind of thing that if you blink, you miss it down here. also a number of campgrounds in Erma, and I'm not going to take a ride back. Here's one. I'm not going to take a ride back into any of these campgrounds or RV parks, unless of course Nicole responds to this and asks me to do so, and then I'll do it. But otherwise, I'm not going to ride back into any of those RV parks or campgrounds. This is a development that is entirely within Erma. My wife and I come up here occasionally for yard sales. Other than coming up here for a yard sale, I don't know that there's any reason why anybody would be traveling back through these developments, which I guess is nice for the residents. They don't have a lot of traffic. I think there are a little over 2,000 residents of Erma based on the 2020 census. And that population actually had declined from the 2010 census. My wife and I are down here just for this weekend. We're going back Sunday. So I hope that I'm managing to ride down a street that is familiar to Nicole just by coincidence, because I'm just riding around Erma. I am not I have no pre-planned route in mind. guess I'll go down Erma Lane. My wife and I have come to have lunch at this Erma Deli here every once in a while. And again, it's on the right side of Breakwater Road, which technically is not in Erma. So I'm coming back up on the airport. You can see straight ahead is the Erma Volunteer Fire Company, where I began this ride. back on Shun Pike. This is the road that I began this ride on. The Union Bethel Cemetery is on Tabernacle, and it's to my right, but I'm not going to go down Tabernacle. I'm going to go straight out to Town Bank Road. My wife and I did a lot of yard sailing this morning. There was probably 10 to 12 pretty good yard sales in North Cape May and Town Bank and the villas. This trolley barn on my left is where all the trolleys over in Cape May are parked when they're not over being used in Cape May. And I think I'm going to pull over and end this ride right here. These two properties, 686 and 686A, were formerly owned by one of my viewers, Harold, who lives in Florida now. And he mentioned that before he moved to Florida, he lived at 900 Whitaker, and he also owned, or his family owned, these two properties. So I thought I would just end the video here. So that's it for me for today. I may or may not be out tomorrow. I don't know. But I wanted to get this ride in response to the request by Lori. And also, it's such a beautiful day. I wanted to be out on the bike. So take care, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. I hope everybody's having a good weekend. And hope you enjoyed the ride. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care.